Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. Doug Ford's joke about sending overflow patients to a spacious new animal hospital is sparking backlash a day after he made the comment at the grand opening of the facility north of Toronto. Now, in response, the Premier's office is emphasizing that it has made record investments in healthcare. But as Nama Weingarten explains, critics say the state of our healthcare system is no laughing matter.
By the looks of it, we know where we can send the overflow patients now for MRIs and CAT scans and everything else.
At a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new pet hospital on Tuesday, Ford offhandedly suggesting that overflow human patients will finally have somewhere to get care. While some people in the room laughed at the remark, which was meant to emphasize the hospital's capacity, the joke didn't land among some politicians and those in the medical community. So much so that the Ontario Liberals' healthcare critic held a press conference Wednesday just to address it, calling it Ford's let them eat cake moment.
This is a man who can spend $1 billion to bring alcohol into convenience stores 1 year early, but when faced with a crisis in healthcare, can suggest only that people turn to the vet.
And he's not the only politician speaking out.
Well, honestly, I was shocked that the Premier would say something like that. But you know what? It's really not inconsistent with what he's been saying in the past and his attitude generally. I mean, I think it's fair to say that this is a Premier and a government that don't take our healthcare crisis seriously.
New data shows 2.5 million Ontario residents are now without a family doctor. That's up from 1.8 million just 4 years ago. This past June, the Canadian Press reported that the average wait time for CT scans in Ontario is 81 days and 90 days for MRIs. The president of Ontario's Medical Association says what people need is better health care, not jokes about it.
Healthcare is in crisis, and this is no laughing matter. We have nearly 1 in 4 people who can't find a family doctor. People are on wait lists to the point of it being cruel in Ontario, and we need a Premier and a government that takes that seriously.
We reached out to Ford's office for comment. A spokesperson for the Premier said they made record investments in healthcare and are adding dozens of new MRI machines and CT scanners to hospitals across the province. Nama Weingarten, CBC News, Toronto.
As Ontario grapples with a shortage of family doctors, some parts of the province are offering big incentives to attract them, including $100,000 bonuses and free housing. The money, though, is coming from local governments who say the Ford government should be coming up with a province-wide strategy. Queen's Park reporter Lorena Redekop has this story.
Dr. Corley Barnes is still unpacking, set to see her first patients next month. She's a new family doctor in Maydock. It's a small community between Toronto and Ottawa.
Most of everything in this room has been paid for by the municipality, which has been a huge, huge, huge help.
She'll also receive a big bonus, $150,000, paid for by the local county if she stays for 5 years.
I have student debts, right? Like there's a big cost that comes with being a physician. So their incentive was a really big draw for sure, but it was also this particular clinic and how they run things.
Hastings County has been offering these perks for new family doctors for almost 20 years. More than 80% of them have stayed beyond the 5 years.
It's important for us to recruit doctors to this area, but the intention of the program since day one has been to not only recruit, but to also prioritize retention.
Just last year, they added a new $150,000 bonus for emergency physicians. A 15-minute drive away, it's the village of Marmora putting up the incentive money.
There has an office at the far end.
Here, they get a free apartment in the same building as the doctor's office, plus $100,000 for a 5-year commitment.
I just want to say that healthcare is not the responsibility of the municipality. It's the responsibility of the province.
Despite that, the mayor says her municipality put up the money because healthcare was the #1 concern here.
I think right across our country, there's a problem with the healthcare system and funding it. And yes, the formula definitely needs to be reviewed.
Within the county, municipalities signed an agreement not to poach each other's doctors. Other nearby communities have similar incentives and recruitment efforts.
I live in a relatively stress-free environment, like no traffic.
So we've got a beautiful acreage for my kids to have that outdoor experience.
It's at a time when 2.5 million Ontarians don't have a family doctor. While some of these pitches have existed for years, the Liberal health critic says others are now getting involved.
It is private store owners, car dealerships, golf clubs that are reaching into their own pockets to try and make their community more attractive to physicians. That has never happened before.
A spokesperson for the health minister pointed to the Ford government's extra spending on primary care and adding more spots in medical schools. Back in Madoc, Dr. Barnes is expecting a busy practice.
There's a need everywhere. Everywhere I've gone, it is the same thing, and it is really sad.
Lorenda Radicop, CBC News, Toronto.
The World Health Organization is declaring Mpox a global health emergency. This is the second time the WHO has made such a declaration in the past 2 years, and it comes as health officials are warning of cases being on the rise right here in Toronto. Tyler Cheese reports.
It's clear that a coordinated international response is essential to stop these outbreaks and save lives.
As cases of Mpox skyrocket in Africa, the World Health Organization has declared its highest level of alarm under international health law. It follows African health officials who declared a continental public health emergency yesterday. Meanwhile, here at home, cases are also on the rise.
So this year alone, we've seen 93 reported cases of Mpox in Toronto compared to just 21 cases for the same period last year.
Ministry of Health guidelines recommend 2 doses of the Mpox vaccine, and Toronto Public Health is urging eligible residents to get their first or second doses as soon as possible. A list of vaccine eligibility criteria is available on the city's website.
People think this is a mild disease, and in the majority of cases it is, but someone will never know if they're going to be the one that ends up quite sick.
At the same time, measles cases are also still on the rise in Ontario. The province reported in May there had been as many cases this year as there have been in the last decade. That's prompting similar calls for vaccinations, especially for children before heading back to school next month.
I would just encourage people to have those conversations with their primary care practitioners to make sure that their vaccines are up to date, including ones that directly impact children and our school system.
Health officials say lower vaccination rates for both measles and Mpox is likely fallout from the pandemic, and it may be causing the diseases to spread more easily.
Disruption of healthcare during the pandemic, people not being able to get to their doctor or get these routine preventative things like vaccines, and also a little bit of this halo effect with all of this misinformation and disinformation about the COVID vaccine, some people having lost faith in vaccines in general.
Experts are assuring the public that both the measles and Mpox vaccines are safe, but say they also understand some of that hesitancy and recommend people talk to their healthcare providers to learn more if they still have questions. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
The Toronto Maple Leafs have a new captain for the upcoming season. The team making it official today, announcing that star forward Austin Matthews will be given the leadership role. The star forward will be taking over from John Tavares, who says he supports the decision. Greg Ross has more.
In front of a packed room at Real Sports Bar, John Tavares passed the Leafs captaincy on to his teammate Austin Matthews, who said the significance of the moment was not lost on him.
I'm so honored and humbled. Since being drafted here 8 years ago, you realize how special it is to play for the city of Toronto, to wear the maple leaf on your chest every single night, and it just means the world to do that.
General Manager Brad Treliving says he was the one who first considered the move, but before making a final decision, he approached Tavares with the idea.
John and I had a conversation, and I first raised, the thought that I had about the succession of the captaincy to John, and I can tell you right from the start, John was on board.
Here's Matthews, and Tavares scores! The Leafs say Tavares was given plenty of time to consider passing on the seat. Team president Brendan Shanahan says he also had discussions with him about it.
I actually went over to John's house and sat with him in his backyard, and Aaron was there, and really talked to him about this and to gauge his comfortability when this was first being talked about.
After careful consideration for several days, Tavares says he was the one who called Matthews to break the news.
It was late July, and just wanted to let him know what I thought about him, and that I thought the time was now for him for him to take charge and be the captain and be the leader of our club.
For him to call me and kind of let me know that he wanted to pass on the captaincy to me, was very emotional and, felt a lot of things, but it's truly an honor.
Despite the fact that Tavares will no longer have the C on his jersey this season, the Leafs insist that he is still very much an integral part of the leadership on this team.
His role in the dressing room will not change. John will remain the same. I've played on lots of great teams that have had sort of multiple captains. One guy wears the C, but there are lots of captains.
Back up top, Marner scores! This is now without a doubt Matthews' team. The Leafs hope this will only improve the dynamic in the locker room.
I felt this was another step. Again, not that anything was wrong, but is this a way that we could take a step forward and have Austin lead that leadership group.
In the 5 years that Tavares was the Leafs captain, the team won just a single playoff round. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. It's that time of year again. The X is back this Friday. The Canadian National Exhibition has been an annual tradition for 145 years now. And over the next 2 weeks, people will be flocking to the fairgrounds once again to enjoy the rides, the games, and of course, the food. Chris Glover got a sneak peek of what you can expect to eat at the CNE this year.
Welcome to the CNE Media Preview Day, the day where all your favorite reporters get to run around the X here and try out the outrageous food that has been kept under wraps up to this point, but there's a lot of things that people are going to get excited about, like these deep fried pizza dogs here. This is, what was it, half a pound of mozzarella?
Half a pound of mozzarella.
My goodness. Okay, so we got a cheese coma over here, and then over on this side, kind of a neat thing here. What is this, my dear?
So this is our unicorn. It's lightly brushed with mayo, queso cheese, some tahini, and lime juice.
Break the secret for me. How do you get that nice rainbow color?
It's natural food coloring.
Okay, great. Well, it looks tasty. All right, and every year we know that 1.6 million people come to the X, and a lot of people want to enjoy these treats, like our friend here at Eva's. Hey, so tell me about what you have.
Okay. So we bake these fresh Eastern European pastries. They're coated in cinnamon sugar. We have a full ice cream menu inside, but as a CNE special, we're doing our viral creme brulee cones. They're filled with soft serve and then a creme brulee on top. We also have vegan options. And we've got a strawberry Nutella cone, so coated with Nutella, filled with fresh strawberries and topped with chocolate.
And is Jose going to be able to burn it for us as well?
He's going to do it right now. He's got it for you. Yeah.
Okay, love it. While he's doing that, can you just tell me, why do you think it's so important to be a part of an event like this?
It's when Toronto really comes alive. It's part of the city's history. I'm 43, and I've been coming since I was a newborn. My first ever photo was taken here. So I think coming here is just being a special part of the city.
And the food really does become like the backbone of every CNE.
Every CNE. I still remember some of the food I first tried at the CNE when I was little, like shrimp chips and that onion that explodes. Like everything here is about the food.
I love it. Okay, so are we at the stage yet where we can chimney this creme brulee?
Yeah, we're going to chimney it now. Here we go. Yeah. Look at it crackle. It's great.
Oh, it looks delicious. Can I have a sampler?
Of course. Yeah, here's one for you right now.
No, I can't have the whole thing.
You can. It's a little one, and it's just for you. There you go. Yeah.
It's half that size.
Okay, wait. I'm going to put this down, but it is so tasty. Don't let anyone else take that, and I'm going to come back for it. I also wanted to show everybody what I think is going to be my absolute favorite of this year, the deep fried buttered chicken lasagna. The reason why we're so excited about it is because last year, Rick here had the #1 seller at the CNE, and you're hoping for a repeat.
Oh yes, I'm hoping for a repeat. You know, it's a lot of pressure, but you know, this year we thought. I won a contest called Recipe to Riches with butter chicken lasagna on Food Network about 14 years ago. Yeah. And I said, you know what, let's bring that back and let's deep fry it this time, because what's CNE with deep frying something, right? So we did a deep fried butter chicken lasagna. we've got it's like about 8 or 9 layers of beautiful flavors. And then we're bringing back the butter chicken overload, which was the best seller last year. This is 2 butter chicken samosas, tandoori fried chicken, butter chicken loaded fries, all in a sandwich. And then for dessert, we're doing deep fried gulab jamuns.
All right, I'm gonna try this deep fried lasagna because I have been thinking about it ever since I first walked into this place. Okay. All right, off to a good start. Nice layers, very saucy. I like that. Oh. You might have a winner again this year.
I love it, I love it.
The other thing I note about your stop here is that it's such a mashup, right? We've got lasagna, we've got butter chicken, we've got deep fried. I mean, it's all these different cultures all together. How does that speak to what this is all about?
I mean, being born and raised in Brampton, I'm taking what I grew up with is my neighbors being Italian, Jamaican, Asian, and growing up with that kind of food. It was such a diverse, and still is such a diverse country, in my opinion. You get the world here, and especially in Brampton, Mississauga. So I grew up with these flavors, and to be able to pay homage and really fuse them together and make Punjabi food approachable, like a Punjabi cheeseburger or a butter chicken samosa. Everyone knows what a cheeseburger is. Everyone knows what a lasagna is. But when you put butter chicken lasagna, you're like, oh, I get it. I kind of want to try it. I'm kind of mad, but I'm not, but let's try it. I love it, right? And I love seeing that reaction from people's faces, and that's what we like to do. We say, Rick's Good Eats, it's called the new tradition. We're the new tradition that we're bringing these kind of cultures to the front, and this is what we love to do.
Very cool. Well, I'm not mad about it at all, and I am excited for people to try it. Good luck, Rick. But at the end of a long day at the X, you might be thinking that you want something to take the edge off, perhaps something with a little bit of a kick in it, like this one from my friend Nate here. So tell me, what do you have?
So we have a brand new shot that's going to be served out of the band shell area inside the C&E grounds where all the big bands are playing. Our bar is called Cocktail Bar, and this is the new shot. It's a half hollowed out pickle that's going to have a tahine rim, a very savory, lightly spicy concoction with also your choice of either tequila or gin mixed inside of it. So it's a shot, it's a little bit of a meal, it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner all in one.
People are expected to shoot it and then eat the pickle all at once?
Exactly, exactly.
All right, so these ones do not have liquor in them. I'll give this one a whirl here. Cheers, cheers. Oh, that is a spicy shot. Woo. Okay, it has kick. So there's more than 20 food vendors that are here at the X this year, new ones, and then of course tons of returning favorites as well. And so you're gonna have the next couple of weeks to try all this outrageous foods and even many of the other ones that I didn't have a chance to catch just yet. But for now, Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
23 cyclists are challenging themselves to bike from Toronto to Montreal for a good cause.
This is a journey amongst amazing people who get together once a year to do 2.5 days of about 590 kilometers from Toronto to Montreal, raising money for this institution behind us, the Sick Kids Hospital and the Children's Hospital in Montreal, as well as CHEO in Ottawa.
Cyclists tightened their gears and set off for Montreal this morning from Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital. The group has grown since the charity's first 401 bike challenge in 2005. This year, each cyclist is looking to raise over $3,000 with a total goal of $250,000. All of the money raised will be donated to children's hospitals in Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. The cyclists are expected to arrive in Montreal on Friday. And Chris, it's good that the cyclists will be arriving before the rain hits on the weekend.
Yeah, that's a long commute, Kelvin.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, that's a very long commute.
Good for them.
Yeah, 100%. I only wish I could bike that long.
Me too.
Maybe an hour. Maybe an hour for me.
Me less
you?
than that. So
Okay.
So you're better than me. You win.
You said it. I didn't say it. You did.
Hey.
Let's get to the weather. All right. So, update quickly on the tropics. As expected, yes, Ernesto became a hurricane earlier this morning and now continues to move away from Puerto Rico, away from Dominican Republic, and it's not anticipated to affect land until Friday and into Saturday. It's a hurricane right now, a low-end Category 1. It might actually reach Category 3 status with max sustained winds above 177 kilometers an hour, which would make it a major hurricane. And it does look like it will be at least a Category 2 as it begins to move towards Bermuda. You can't really see it, this little speck right there, that's Bermuda. So it does look like hurricane force winds will move towards Bermuda sometime during Friday night and through the day on Saturday, along with winds. You're going to get some rainfall, obviously, storm surge. That's what a hurricane or tropical storms do. And then we'll move off towards the Atlantic. It doesn't necessarily look like it will make landfall across Nova Scotia, but tropical storm force winds are expected across Nova Scotia. Rainfall is expected. It might actually make landfall towards the Avalon Peninsula in Newfoundland. But for us across southern Ontario, we're not going to see any impact from Ernesto. We will stay dry tonight. We will stay dry tomorrow. But as we get into Friday and the weekend, a separate system moves in from the west, and that will give us the opportunity for some wet weather. Not a washout, but there will be unsettled weather conditions. In terms of daytime highs today, anywhere from 25 to 29, 28 in the city, and it does look like similar conditions are expected for the day on your Thursday. Slightly cooler, but seasonable for Friday and into Saturday and Sunday. But once again, that's when the wet weather moves in. Not much to point out right now with high pressure firmly in place. Beautiful blue sky today. Showers and thunderstorms affected areas across the northeastern Ontario and towards the Kawarthas as well, but that activity is not expected to drop into southern Ontario for tomorrow. So we're going to stay sunny with just a few scattered high-level clouds moving in during the course of the day. Doesn't give us an opportunity for rainfall, but rainfall will start to move in for Friday. I don't really think that it will impact the GTA for the afternoon, but there's still a slight chance. Once we get through the evening and overnight, that's when we have a greater risk in terms of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms. Daytime highs for your Thursday around 28, 26 for you on Friday, 25 for both Saturday and Sunday. Not a washout for the weekend, but on and off showers. Monday we get into highs near 26.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris.